Hello, spooky friends, and welcome to another episode of the Scaryish podcast.
Woo!
I'm Robin Grace, and this is Adam Diaz, and today we have a special guest, Yolanda Squirreltree.
Whoop, whoop. Welcome, Yolanda Squirreltree. So, like Robin said, we're going to be having a special guest episode. I am pretty excited. You folks have not heard much about Yolanda in the past. However, Yolanda's mother and my mother are sisters. Which makes us first or second sisters. I forget. I'm reading Wheel of Time again. And the way the relationships go is really weird. She's my cousin. She's my favorite cousin. She's basically like my big sister.
That's pretty messed up. You're like, hold on. Let me fuck all my other cousins out there. This is my favorite. Fuck everybody else.
Well, she's the most supportive. She's the best.
Yes.
Aww, and on top of that, none of my cousins listen, so I think I'm in the clear.
Cool.
But yeah, for realsies, she is out here on vacation, staying with us. We're so happy to have her here. And when we were sitting downstairs, I was like, man, what am I going to cover tonight? I had an idea. I was like, you have any scary stories? And she was like, I got some stuff. Most of it's real. I was like, perfect. You're on tonight. So, are you excited to make your Scaryish debut?
I am. I'm a little nervous, though, so...
Well, there's literally no one that listens to the show at all, so don't be nervous.
I don't even listen to the show, so you know.
Our friend Brett's been on. Brett was good.
Yeah,
Ralph's been on, I think, 3 times? Yep. 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. Spooky Mom's
He's like
on.
the Steve Martin to our Saturday Night Live, because he's hosted it like 17 times.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's him and Alec Baldwin always competing for number 1.
Really?
And then Spooky Mom's been on it. Yeah, so...
Wow. Oh, I didn't know that.
Pretty good stuff.
Love Steve Martin.
We could call you Spooky Cousin, but there's a lot of cousins out there, so we'll just go with Yolanda.
Yeah. All right, yeah. Yolanda's good.
Okay, cool. So, we're going to go ahead and start out with a shorter, scarier story, right? Like more paranormal-ish?
It happened when I was little, yeah. So
okay, cool.
It was super scary at the time.
Was I alive when this happened?
Probably.
Yolanda's not significantly older than me, but she is older.
I'm 29.
So, she's 29, I'm 26, so it's all good. All right, let's go ahead and dive right in.
Okay, so I always have a lot of like vivid dreams. And ever since I was little, just I could remember everything, details, and things like that. So I thought I was dreaming when this whole thing occurred. And I have a twin sister, Jillian. Well, I call her Jill, but she goes by Jillian these days.
Boosh.
Twin sisters.
Yes, I'm older.
Twins, creepy, also yuck.
Yes.
What
Continue.
We can't, I don't know. I have another story about that, but it's not scary. So we share a room, and I woke up one night, and like she was still asleep, and I see this like figure in the room, and it looked...
Our lights just flickered when she said that. Did you notice it?
But there is a thunderstorm going on outside.
Nice ambiance in the background in Las Vegas.
Yeah, we'll blame that. So I'm laying in bed, and you know how you get like paralyzed, like if I don't move... It's not there, So I'm staring at this thing, and I'm thinking, am I awake? Am I still sleeping? Am I dreaming? And it was dark in the room, obviously. And here's where I usually demonstrate like what it looked like, because to me it looked like a figure of a woman, but like sitting down. There was no chair. It looked like she was sitting.
Oh my!
And so. It was just creepy, and I'm just staring at it. My sister's asleep, and finally I just like screamed for my dad. And he comes like to the doorway in the hallway. He doesn't turn on any lights though. And so I was like, he's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, do you see that? And it's still there, even though my dad had like woken up and come to the doorway. And he's like, what? And I'm like, don't you see that right there? And he couldn't see it. And it's like, and so by then, like I knew that I was awake because, I'm having this conversation with my dad. My sister is sleeping the whole time. Like, she's no help. This thing's gonna, like steal my soul.
This is horrific.
Wait, so was it at the bed of your, was it at the bed of Jill's?
So like we had the kind of like a long room, but it wasn't very wide. So our beds were both on the same side of the room, and it was towards the back of the room. It wasn't like, it was like in the middle of the room, not like right by my bed.
Okay.
And I didn't have a sense like that it was evil. I did, but at
you
the
just
time,
knew it was out of place.
I was like, what is it doing here? What, like I am I sleeping? Am I awake? And when my dad came out, and then I was just kind of freaking out because I was like definitely awake. And so he flips on the light, like, what is it? And then it disappeared. And that was the only time when I like ever saw a physical type of like thing.
Do you think
Like
it was
an
the house that
apparition.
was a little bit haunted?
I'm always freaked out by like my parents' house, particularly like their bedroom and their closet.
Oh, your mom still lives there?
Yeah.
And are you sometimes...
I like in
Fuck you.
in my childhood bedroom, like I'm okay,
Can
but
we retake your question?
Okay.
I'm sorry. That was just so fucking...
I forgot what my question was.
I keep feeling like I say it like.
Oh, it's fine. Adam says it. We all say it a lot. So when you go to visit, are you just creeped out sometimes when you...
In my childhood bedroom, like I feel okay. I don't like the closet in my bedroom, and I still have nightmares about that closet.
Really?
Yes, and then
oh,
my parents'
no.
bedroom really freaks me out for some reason, and their closet also freaks me out.
Okay, is there something in the closet in your nightmares, or is it like the idea that something could just suck you into the closet?
In my nightmares, it's always the closet in my childhood bedroom, not my parents'. And so it's not, I never see anything, but it's like just a feeling of like
dread.
Evil.
Yeah.
And it kind of like the door would be open, and if my sister was in the room with me, she would leave, and then I would be the only one in there, and I'd have to like hurry up and try to slam the door before like evil like comes. I don't know.
With me, it's always when I have nightmares, it's always my parents' house that I grew up in. And their room is like sanctuary because I know they're in there, but it's their bed. But for some reason, the way my parents' bedroom was laid out was that there was a door, and when you walked into it, immediately to your right was another door, and that was their master bath. And then once you walked past that, you walked into the bigger room, and then it's like, just a fairly decent-sized bedroom. Like, as an adult, I'm thinking like 16 by 16, something like that. And they had a king-size bed. And something would always be wrong. I'd wake up in my bedroom, I go into the hallway, I know something was wrong, I try and turn on the lights, and this still happens to me in my dreams, the lights don't turn on. That's my first sign I'm in a nightmare. I'm like, fuck, something bad's happening. And I get that sense of dread like something's watching me, and I'd be like, I have to get to mom and dad. Half like as an adult now to help them, and half still like thinking as a kid like they can protect me. And so I have to walk towards it, but the thing is that the sense of dread is always emanating from that walkway, that double doorway.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like something's going to be right there waiting for me, and I have to walk past it to get into the room. So the closer I get, the more and more scared I get. And then I have to rush in, and they're never there. And then I have to wander out, and it hits me on my way down the stairs when none of the lights turning on, like, everyone's in the basement. You have to go to the basement.
No.
That happens to me every fucking time I have a nightmare.
So, when the lights stopped working in the guest room, the first time you flipped the switch on and
I pinched myself.
Did you really?
Absolutely. Yeah, I was like, fuck, am I dreaming? Like, we had a recording session that ran super late, and I was so tired. It's the most tired I've ever been. I actually fell asleep during the show, and Robin had to wake me up. We were recording at like 5 a.m., and I still had to edit it afterwards. So once we finished, she was going to go to bed, and I was like, I have to edit, go to sleep, wake up, and have my meetings at 8 o'clock for work. I was like, fuck. So I was so tired, and we opened the door to the office, and the hallway was lit up. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? The light in the guest room doesn't work. I'm like, why is there light coming in from that room? And I stopped and I pinched myself. And Robin's like, are you pinching yourself right now? I'm like, I don't know. And then it hit both of us at the same time. Like, it's the fucking sun. The sun is up because it was such a late recording session. And I was like, oh my God, I need to finish this shit and go to sleep. So, okay. That's super fucking creepy. Because a lot of times when people tell us or email us their stories, they have the sense of dread.
Yeah.
And they're not sure if they're awake or asleep. But not only did you have that, but you didn't have the sense of dread, but you saw something. You saw an actual apparition.
I
I definitely saw something. When he came there, it was still there until he flipped on the light.
Did you ever talk about it with your dad after that?
I don't remember, because I think it just freaked me out. And then I tried to tell myself, like, maybe I was just dreaming. But I like heard you guys talk about sleep paralysis all the time, and it wasn't that type of, I felt I could move if I wanted to. So it wasn't.
But you're just like, I'm standing.
I'm like,
yeah,
I'm like, I'm just gonna stay here. I'm not gonna move. I'm just gonna stare at it for a minute. And it didn't, that whatever the apparition was did not move. It just looked like it was sitting down, but with no chair.
It's like the bent neck lady from Haunting at Hill House.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
No.
That's fucking creepy. That's super creepy.
Yeah.
I'm curious if like your mom or your twin sister, or even your older brother, have ever had experiences in the house that you know of.
I feel like my sister has definitely had one. I don't want to get into that because I would kill the story. So you guys have to like talk to her. But but that happened in my parents' bedroom. So when she told me that story, I was like, like,
Oh my God.
Can you paraphrase it?
It was something. So her boyfriend came to
so
like
this
visit.
is adult time.
Yes,
Oh,
it was in college.
Oh
so
no.
let's see. We were juniors in college, and they had come from Ball State to just visit my mom, and my mom let them like sleep in her room because she had a bigger bed. And something happened. Like there was like a glow of some sort that they saw, and they both like, because they were sleeping, I think, and they both woke up at the same time and like locked arms. And my sister, she felt like something had like taken over her boyfriend's body. Like when she was like trying to talk to him, she sensed that it wasn't him. Like
That's
looking
so
back
creepy.
at her.
Oh my.
And so when she told, like, she didn't even really want to tell me the story at the time, because it freaked her out so bad.
Wow.
And so I don't know that she would really talk about it now, or if she would even like remember it. But
we're gonna have to fly her out here now. And talk to her about it.
So my parents' bedroom, I try not to go up there a lot, like by myself.
That's terrifying.
Okay, well, one, it's really nice of Aunt Yolanda Sr. to give up her bed because it was bigger. That's super sweet. But it's funny because I still have
Aunt Yolanda Sr.
I still have my childhood names that I call a lot of my cousins. So like for me, when you're like, she goes by Jillian, I call her Joe. I'm like, her name is Jilly.
Jilly.
So
Aww,
we got to get Jilly out
like
here
that.
to talk about that. But that is super intense. So
Yeah.
Good stuff. Okay, so we have established that Yolanda and Jilly are twins. So my question, we've asked every set of twins we've ever met this. Like, do you guys have twin powers? Do you have Wonder Twin power activate?
You feel like something happens to her, so you feel it, or you know something's wrong, or she knows something's wrong, or...
Not really. Not like, because we're not identical. I feel like identical twins have like a stronger type of power that way. But we used to do things when we were younger. Like we would have the same coloring books and we would pick out the same like colors and then go to opposite ends of the room and like color a picture to see if we both chose like the same colors for the different parts of the pictures.
Yeah.
And so usually we would choose the same color. Like, I don't know if it was like somebody wearing like a polka dot dress, like I might color the polka dots yellow and like the background of the dress purple, but she would do the opposite.
Wow.
So like the polka dots would be purple and the dress part would be yellow. So a lot of times we did choose like the same
palette,
thing,
but just kind of flipped.
opposites. Yeah.
You said you had a twin story? Did you have
okay, so this is also like kind of a haunted story, but I feel stupid telling it because it's about balloons.
Well, balloons are terrifying.
Balloons are terrifying.
I've
like,
seen
so
it.
Don't
like
judge
balloons
it,
are scary.
So we graduated 8th grade and we went to
Shakey's
high school.
Shakey's.
Like,
I don't know where you go for graduation for 8th grade.
No, I meant like we were moving.
Shakey's is a burger place.
They had the
right?
best.
It's a pizza
Shakey's
joint.
had the best.
Okay.
Those little apple pie things were the. Do you know what I'm talking? They looked like like the Totino's pizza rolls. But inside it was like apple pie filling.
Mm-hmm.
They were amazing.
My brother once drank so much iced tea, I'm pretty sure he gave himself like a bladder infection at Shakey's. Yeah, it was like that scene from Forrest Gump where it's like, I must have had about 14 Dr. Peppers. Like, that was my brother.
I got to pay.
With iced tea at Shakey's. And then after that, it was like, no more fucking iced tea, bro.
I haven't thought about that place in years. They had like the red cups like Pizza Hut used to have.
They absolutely did. I had I attended my first and only meeting of the Sonic Club at Shakey's. You know Lee, so this is a great story.
No, you've already told that story on the podcast before, right?
Have I? I don't think I have. If I have, I'll just do a quick version of it. My friend Lee, when we were younger, he was the Sega kid. I was Super Nintendo, he was Sega. He fucking loved Sonic the Hedgehog, so he started a club for all the Sega kids called the Sonic Club. So they would hang out, we'd just go to Shakey's, and we'd talk about pizza. But I was a Super Nintendo kid, but he was my best friend, so he still invited me.
Aww.
So I went, and then he talked about how he had written this letter to Sega to tell them about the Sonic Club. And so later that day, we went back to his house, and his parents got the mail, and he had a letter from Sega.
Shut up.
And he was so excited. He lit up like a Christmas tree, and his mom opened it up and started reading it. And it was a cease and desist letter. And he burst into tears and ran to his bedroom while his brother cackled madly at how hilariously funny it was. But yeah, that's my best Shakey's memory right there. Okay, let's get back to it. I'm sorry.
That's so funny.
Graduated 8th grade. You're going to high school.
Yeah, so we had like an 8th grade graduation, and our parents had bought us each like a congratulations balloon, like one of those Mylar balloons, and they were the same exact balloon. I remember that they were purple.
Is it because you guys are twins, so they just bought everything
probably.
the same?
Yes,
okay.
yes. We would fight over, oh, she got the better one. But at this time, now that we were older, we still shared a room, but our beds were on opposite sides of the room.
Right.
And so I used to wake up in the middle of the night feeling like something was watching me, but it would be like just these balloons, and they would,
what?
And so they would be like in the middle of the room.
It was something you couldn't see holding the other end of the string of the balloon.
No, shut up. No.
But I felt so stupid. So, I would wake up several times while they, the balloons, and then, they slowly like start to deflate, and these balloons just freaked the fuck out of me. And so one night the bathroom was like near our room. There was like a little hallway and the bathroom was, right there. So I took these balloons one night and put them in the bathroom. And then I get that feeling and I wake up and these balloons
are they still in the room?
Are in my room again. And maybe it could have been like
God.
my mom or dad moved the balloons, while I was sleeping, but it still like freaked me out. So eventually, I think I deflated my balloon.
I was going to say, there's
like
one way
purpose?
to defeat the balloon.
Yes.
Pop that fucking thing.
But here's the thing. Like, I kept it, and I had, I had this, like, junk drawer of, like, just shit that I kept. Yeah. And so one day, like, I don't know, years later, like, my sister and I are going through this junk drawer, and, like, I pull out the balloon, and we both got totally silent, and we're staring at it, and she looks at me, and she was like, I always felt like these balloons were haunted. And I was like, oh my God, me too. And I never told her like how I felt about these balloons because I felt so ridiculous. Like, why would I be afraid of a balloon? Like at that point I was like 15, I don't know,
13,
13 yeah, whatever. So, who's afraid of, I didn't want to.
But the fact that she was just like, I always thought they were haunted.
Oh
my God.
I am telling you, this, like, the story behind this balloon is that, like, it's some kid who passed away, and some dad took a fucking congratulations balloon or two and set it on the gravestone, and then it, like, floated away and back into the store because the kid grabbed it and carried it, and then your parents bought it, and the kid's spirit came with
I'm going to
it.
say the vat of plastic that the balloons are made out of had someone fall into it, and it has the soul of the person that fell into the plastic vat.
I'm going to say the guy who was blowing up the balloon decided to do it manually with his breath, and it was his dying breath was these last two balloons. I like the idea of it being a little child holding the end of the balloon. That's gonna be in my short horror stories.
Yeah. Okay. So
that is haunting as fuck.
Never again will I buy a Mylar balloon.
That is super, super terrifying. So, okay. So those are like fairly paranormal for sure. Holy shit. You acted like you didn't have any good stories. You're like, yeah, whatever, one or two maybe. But then you have like a real one, like a real life, almost true crime style story.
Well, one's like another dream related thing, but it's kind of depressing. I don't want to bring you guys down.
Do it. Like, we depress people all the time. More importantly, a lot of people send in really intense stories into story time just to share it. And so
sometimes it's cathartic to talk about stuff. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm sure people out there are like, tell that fucking story, Yolanda. Tell it.
All right. So back to like my dreams. When I was little, I would always have, these vivid dreams. And I used to dream about, this cemetery when I was little. So my grandma lived, I don't know, maybe like 15, 20 minutes away from like my parents' house. And we would always have to drive by the cemetery in real life. And
is this the grandmother we share? Or is this
No, this
Elsie?
Is my dad's mom. Yeah. Okay. Grandma Elsie. So every time we drove past that cemetery, like when I was little, like I just got this weird feeling. And then I would always dream about that cemetery. And like if you're in a car and it's like really bright and sunny outside and say you're like passing like trees or like telephone poles, and like if you have your eyes closed, you can kind of like, I don't know how to describe
it. Go by.
Yeah, like you can sense like a shadow,
you see
like
the shadows.
Yeah, the shadows when you close your
gotcha.
eyes. So in my dreams, it would always be like a really sunny day, and like that would be happening where it's like I could like have my eyes closed and feel that shadow, and it was always just that little snippet of a dream. It wasn't very long, but it was always like sunny. It was always like that shadow situation, and then it was always that cemetery. And
like you can tell the shadows of the cemetery, or
no, it was just like, I don't know, it's just like the mood of the dream.
Okay.
So it wasn't like a scary dream. It was just like sunny and bright and just that's what I remember of the dream. Like, I don't know why that was significant. But so, and I would always dream, like about my dad, just like little dreams here and there. And then, my dad passed away in 2000 when I was 18. And that is the cemetery that he is.
Shut the
Wow.
front door.
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
That's crazy.
I dreamed about that cemetery since I was a little girl.
Wow.
Yep.
All your stories are like
I
chills.
did it, and the reason, like, we chose, I think my grandmother, my grandmother is buried there, but he was a paramedic, and it's like right next to where his like the station was that he worked at. So I don't know. So, but it just had the cemetery at the time did not have any significance to me. Like when I was little. It was just something we
There was
passed.
no reason you should have been
There was
dreaming
no
of it.
reason I should have been dreaming
Because
about
you,
that.
as a kid, you wouldn't have known, like, oh, that cemetery is by where my dad works or whatever.
Because my grandma didn't pass away until I was, probably 22, I think, I want to say. So,
Wow.
crazy.
That's crazy. That's nuts.
Shout out to Uncle Bob, by the way.
Yeah.
Coolest fucking dude ever. So, great story. Thank you for telling that. Like, I kind of understand why you were hesitant to tell it.
Yeah.
But, God, that's so intense, man.
All your stories are just seriously, like, chilling stories.
Yeah, that one sticks with me. I think about that a lot. But anyway, do you guys want to hear a stalker story?
Yeah, some true crime, creepy stalker stories.
So, you're a highly sought after female individual.
I mean, I'm single, gentlemen, if you want to mingle.
She's single, ready to mingle.
Single, ready to mingle.
That
yes.
hasn't always been the case. So,
No.
you've had multiple boyfriends. I remember you having...
Why?
I remember her
I'm
having...
not some whore.
I know, I was going to say, don't say it like that.
I just remember her having boyfriends that would come around and the family would definitely evaluate them like, do we think this person's good enough for Yolanda? How much shit can we give them?
All
How
right,
much shit are
everybody
they willing
put in
to
your
take?
applications, and Adam and I will judge. Are you good enough for Yolanda?
Yes.
I like long walks on the beach.
So,
What's your favorite
Candlelit
date?
I'm just curious if the story you're about to tell is of any of the boyfriends of yours that I have met.
No,
Okay.
it was not a boyfriend. That's what makes this like
Even
crazy.
creepier?
Yeah.
Oof.
So I went to Indiana State University down in Terre Haute, Indiana.
ISU.
And
Is that different than IU?
It is.
yes.
Huh.
Yes. Very, very different.
Oh, okay.
No, it's a smaller. It's not like a Big Ten school or anything.
Okay.
But, people make fun of Terre Haute all the time.
I mean, if you're from Indiana. If you're not, you have no idea what Terre Haute is.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. There's
Yeah,
a
I don't know what it
weird
is.
rivalry between all of the schools in Indiana that just all hate each other for some reason. And everyone's like, at least we're not Michigan. And we just go
What's
on
wrong
with
with
our lives.
Michigan?
I don't know. But we weren't them. That's all that matters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And all my Purdue friends made fun of me for going to ISU. I don't know.
I only made fun of people who went to IUPUI because it's just the silliest fucking name ever. Indiana University, Purdue University of Indianapolis.
What
It's
the?
both universities in one complex, and you can take courses from either side and graduate with a degree from either Indiana University or Purdue
And you got to
University.
just put whatever you want on your degree?
They didn't offer all the courses, but they offered quite a bit. But I had friends that would transfer to Purdue from Purdue to IUPUI, and I'd be like, it's just such a fucking mouthful, bro. Like, why? And I mean, it made more sense. It was cheaper, but yeah, there's all these different schools in Indiana. Like, people think Indiana think like, oh, Notre Dame. I feel like that's the only thing that people out on the West Coast at least think
I just
about.
know Purdue.
I always say IU to people out here because I'm so used to saying it back home.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, where? I'm like, Indiana University? They're like, oh, yeah. So it's
Yeah.
like Purdue has a little bit more name recognition on the West
Yeah.
Coast, but
And
okay.
nobody is really talking about ISU
I was gonna
over here on the West parts. Anyways, so I was an education major. Yes, gentlemen, I am a teacher. But anyway,
I
so
love this.
when we first, when you first start taking education classes, like you're mixed in with different like types of education majors. So I was a special education major, but I had classes with like music majors and PE majors, and that is where I met this guy. His name is Kyle. That's his real name.
Holy
'Cause
shit.
fuck you,
'Cause
Kyle.
fuck you, Kyle.
Oh
So
my god.
Kyle and I had a class together, and then we would walk across campus and then split off into two different buildings for like separate classes. And it was always like just banter. It wasn't any kind of like serious conversation. I made it known that like at the time I had a boyfriend. I mean, we would talk about music, just
It was just like a
like
classmate that you
superficial.
just-
Yeah. I did
You
not
found
know.
someone who finally liked Dave Matthews Band, so you're
Yes.
like, I at least have to talk to him for the
Dave.
walks between classes.
Come on, don't hate on Dave, man.
He's a funny guy, I think. I don't know. I haven't seen him in anything since You Don't Mess with the Zohan. So.
What songs does Dave Matthews Band do?
Oh, you just broke my heart. Oh my god. Dave, like Crash, you know, he sings like that.
That's exactly how he sings, actually.
He plays guitar. Oh my gosh, I'll play you some songs.
Okay.
We'll play the discography after
I'll
this.
put Adam through some, misery later.
Oh, okay.
God, I can't wait.
Dave Matthews, yes. I haven't been to a Dave concert in a while.
Is he alive still?
You and everyone else. So.
She just asked if Dave was alive. Okay, well, moving on.
Okay.
So I did not know Kyle very well. And one day he wrote me like a poem, and it was just
That's
kind
a
of
bad sign.
yes. And it was kind of
It
like
is a bad sign.
it was like an "I'm over you now" poem, and I was
What?
and I was
It's
like,
like, excuse me,
when were you under
me?
me? So I didn't really think anything of it, and it was, and I don't know, when you start to take like your specialized classes, like more like to your major, like I didn't see him because I think he was a PE major, so I didn't have any other classes with this guy. And I used to work at this little restaurant called Moggers, which is awesome in Terre Haute. You need to go check it out if you're down there. And Kyle used to come in there every now and then because he knew one of the servers, and so
You,
I was
obviously.
going to say, was it you?
well.
He knew another one of the
Yes,
servers.
he knew another one of the servers, but I hadn't seen him in a couple years, and so
Oh, wow.
like, and it would just be random, like he would come into the restaurant, and then that was it, or so I thought. And when I started my student teaching, it had definitely been some time since I had seen Kyle, and I was student teaching at this giant high school. I graduated from a tiny high school. I had like 120 kids in my graduating
Wheeler
class.
High School.
Wheeler High School.
The butthole of Northwest
No.
Indiana.
What the what?
This is a true story. I believe you were a senior when I was a freshman.
Is that the back to the dump thing?
Yes, it is. But Yolanda went to
The
the
high-
rival.
oh my
Yolanda went to the rival high school of my alma mater, Boone Grove High School, which is ironic because as much as I hate Wheeler deep in my heart because of that rivalry, I mean, most people do. I also hate my high school, and I hate it even more now as an adult because of just. For adult reasons, you're like, oh, school board and blah, 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 and other reasons.
Funding.
But
Duh,
exactly.
duh.
But it's just so funny looking back because as soon as you start saying like your high school, I'm like, fuck Wheeler.
Yeah, I always have to like whisper that around Adam. I went to Wheeler.
Fuck the Bearcats.
But yeah, so
What the fuck is a bear cat?
Exactly. They stole our fucking logo. Our logo was the wolf. And they're like, we're going to be Bearcats. And it was like they came and like hand copied it and like ran back to their school and like, make it green and orange. Yeah, it looks better.
Oh, God.
Sorry.
Okay.
Bearcat was awesome.
Okay.
You've never heard of a Bearcat?
No.
What was your high school mascot?
Chargers?
So it was a lightning bolt
It
or
was a
something.
lightning
Oh,
bolt.
It was a
lightning bolt.
USB-C charger that would run out and be like, who needs some juice? That'd actually be the coolest fucking mascot if you just stand by the mascot
no, it
and
was
charge
like
your phone.
it was like a superhero looking, superhero. I think he looked like a superhero, and it was like a lightning bolt logo stuff.
Was he ripped or was it a suit?
It's like it was obviously a ripped. It was like a suit that had muscles in it.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, if you want to pick a buff guy, like I have a friend who could have been the fucking Charger without a suit in high school. He was super ripped.
Was it you?
Fuck, I wish. No, it's Tim.
Oh, okay.
Most ripped friend I have
Hi, Tim.
to this day. Just saying.
Does
Okay.
Tim listen to the podcast?
He does actually. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's
Oh,
not.
nice.
I don't think he's like Tuesday morning. He's gonna fucking listen to it. Garrett does that though. So
Garrett's gonna
shout out
be
to
like,
Garrett.
all right.
He's gonna be like, I fucking hate all of you guys. Okay, let's keep going.
Okay, so when I was student teaching, this high school just was very overwhelming to me because it was huge. And the parking lot, there was a specific like staff parking lot. There were probably a couple of them. And then there was the student lot, but every morning, like I would have to park in the staff lot, and then by the end of the day, like the parking lot was full. And so one day, I come out and I was like walking to my car and I noticed that there was something. Actually, I think I actually got into my car first and noticed that there was like a rose on my windshield.
No.
And so
No.
I get and I had a boyfriend. So I get out and I get the rose off the
Were you
car.
like, oh, well, that's romantic.
Because I was like, who else would know that I'm here? you know? So I get back in my car and then I just like look up and parked directly across where my car was.
Shut the front door.
Is fucking Kyle.
No way.
And I immediately, like, cold chills go up my spine, and I'm just staring at him, because how the hell, first of all, how did he know I was student teaching? How did he know where I was parking? And how early did he fucking get there to get that spot? And he, like, early in the morning, and he must have waited there all day. And then he also knew what kind of fucking car I drove.
The trauma.
To edit that out. So I was, sitting in my car, like, do I get out? Like, this is so weird. Do I stay in my car? Do I just, like, back out and leave? And then my dumbass, like, gets out of my car. But I made a point, like, I walked around to
My favorite murder girls, ladies, would be so fucking pissed at you about this. I would have just advised you to hang the fucking rose out. Just the stem,
like,
just the bud.
Yeah.
No, just the bud out the window and roll up the window so the window decapitates it, and then drive away.
So I get out of my car and I walk around, and Kyle gets out of his car, and I'm just thinking, what do I say? What do I do? We didn't have cell phones. Well, we did have cell phones, but I don't think they had cameras, like advanced cameras. They still had
really shitty cameras on
them. And so he pulls out a Polaroid camera. And he says,
"Get in the trunk."
No.
And at this point, I'm like, when he reached into his car, because his door was open, so I couldn't see.
Were you terrified? Like, is it a gun?
Like,
what is it?
I was like, mistakes were made. Why did I get out of the car? So, and when he pulls out the camera, I was kind of relieved, but then, confused. There's like my mind is racing at this point. And he goes, I never realized, or, I realized that we never took a picture together. And he snaps this picture before I could even react. Like, it must have been the shittiest picture of me.
I'm like, there's a Polaroid.
Mouth open, like, scared to death.
It was at the end of your day, right? And you've been teaching all day, too. So you're just like, exhausted and annoyed.
I'm just imagining this Polaroid exists on someone's wall.
That's what I'm like, what did he do with it? Like,
we never took a picture together, and he snaps a fucking picture of you by yourself.
And then in a parking lot of all places. Like, and so
this is the littlest dick energy I've ever fucking heard of in my life.
It was the freakiest thing. And so I was just like, I don't remember. I definitely didn't like go further, like to get closer to him or anything. I was just like, okay, like thanks for the rose. And then I gotta go now, and like get in my car and like booked it out of there. But it didn't dawn on me. Like once I realized, like, how did he know what car I drove? How did he know what parking lot, I would be in? How did he know what school? And then I was thinking, well, maybe we could have made small talk. Like if he came into the restaurant, oh, where are you student teaching? Like blah, blah, blah. But to actually like go there and wait there and be in that particular spot just like sent shivers down my spine. And I was like, I hope he's not following me to my apartment right now.
Did you drive in circles?
No, and it was like it's like a 15-20 minute drive from where my apartment was to like go to the school. And I know that he had to have like lived somewhere, in downtown, like, I don't know, Terre Haute, I guess. I don't know. But to this day, I'm like, where
did you ever see him again?
I did. I think I got like a nasty email from his girlfriend, like stay out of our relationship. And I'm like, bitch, like I am not part of this relationship. Whatever is going on is between you and Kyle. And I'm like, ask me anything. I have no reason to lie to you. Like there's absolutely nothing. Like I have a boyfriend. There's nothing going on with this Kyle kid. And so, I mean, after I graduated, I stayed in the area, I don't know, like another 5 years probably. And so I was teaching and still working at that restaurant. And we used to do like catering. And I was at a catering event and he was there. And it had been years later. And I didn't even want to talk to him. And so I avoided him until I had to like serve something at their table or something. I like had to walk by him, and he did end up just saying sorry. He was like, I'm sorry. But I thought he was more apologizing for his girlfriend.
Yeah. I'm sorry that she doesn't understand our love. I'm sorry. I like pay homage to this Polaroid every night. Like, I don't know. That's fucking terrifying.
Yeah, that is terrifying.
There's like a fine line between romantic and seemingly psychotic. And I think that it's not as thin of a line as you would imagine. And you have to understand that, like, there is just no way, shape, or form. Like, Rose, he had a good start. Like, I should leave a rose on her windshield. Without going to the thought of, like, we've never had any sort of connection. She's not romantically interested in me. She's not expecting this. She has a boyfriend. He's editing all this shit out. He's like, Rose, good idea. Let's start there. But I want to see her reaction. I'll have to park across. Well, what time does she work? I'll have to wait all fucking day. It's getting more romantic by the minute. Kyle, you're killing it. And he's like, how can I keep this moment and treasure it forever? We'll take a Polaroid camera with us.
That's terrifying.
It's so, like, and
it's
for
like
him,
2 leaps of logic from him asking for a lock of your hair and throwing you in the trunk.
Seriously, though. And to, like, he would have had to have woken up early, you know, because it was like, what? 7 o'clock, 7:30 when I got to the, school starts at like 8.
Do you think he followed you to school?
I don't know. I think he would have had to, like, if there
What are the odds? And we have listeners. We don't have My Favorite Murder listeners. We have listeners. What are the odds Kyle listens to this fucking show?
Oh, no, shut up. No. No.
Well, I guess I did give away where I went to college, but I was like, he doesn't know who Yolanda is.
That's a good point.
He's like, no, I just know your social security number.
Right, and your current address.
Yes.
So
that's horrific.
It is.
Stalkers are terrifying.
There used to be this coffee shop down in Terre Haute that I would go to all the time. And it happened to be in the same building that my boyfriend lived in. So my boyfriend at the time lived in, like, on the 2nd floor.
Yeah.
And so we could just walk right to this little coffee shop, grab coffee and then go on, with your life, whatever. And so Kyle, one day when I went in there, like, he was working at this coffee shop.
So he just gets a job at
I
this
can't
coffee shop.
believe that he started working at the coffee shop
it's like
he used to go to.
You don't think about it. It's just like, oh, I didn't realize you worked here. Like, oh, I never
did. There's a body stuffed somewhere in the back with missing an apron. He's like, of course I work here. So it's like Dan and blood splatter on it.
It's crazy. It just gets better and better. So I used to order like a chai tea all the time, and because the whole stalking situation, I wondered how Kyle like knew what kind of car I drove. And so one day I had walked out from my boyfriend's apartment and went to my car, and there were 2 cartons of the chai tea that they use at that coffee shop.
It's terrifying.
And so like the employees to that coffee shop parked behind the apartment building, and that's where I used to park, when I would go and visit my boyfriend. And so I thought maybe that's how this guy knew.
Oh my God,
what kind of car I drove.
The fact that you found like the cartons of the tea, right?
Yeah, just
on
like he knew.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
He had to have watched you park or get out of your car or do whatever to know, like, I'm going to drop these tea things on her car.
And I drove a pretty common car at the time. I called it the Breezer. It was like a Plymouth Breeze. I think
That's so funny.
There was like another similar model car. I can't think of the name of what kind of car that was, but
like a Chevy Cavalier.
Like, no, it was like a Dodge. I don't remember.
Is the Breeze the one that has the like a hatchback looking?
It was like a 4-door, and they were just common at the time. Or I thought they were common. Like when you start driving a car, you think, oh, you just start noticing them.
Yeah.
But, so I'm sure there were more of those cars around town but he knew exactly like which one was mine.
Memorize your license plate.
Yep.
Again, like, this is not romance. Like,
Not
I'll give
romantic.
her 2 of the chai tea things that she likes next to her car.
Yep.
Even though she doesn't know, I know what she drives.
Yeah.
That's
just
horrific.
And at the time, like, I don't even know how many times I had actually gone into, and ordered that specifically from him, because on campus there was a little like kiosk or whatever you want to call it, like in the middle of our like commons area where you can go and get coffee from, and that's where I would usually go. It was like the same like owner or whatever.
Okay.
And so it was like if I was at my boyfriend's house, I would stop in this coffee shop, but yeah.
I feel like you're describing season 3 of You.
I know!
Where Penn Badgley's not nearly as charming all of a sudden.
Oh man, thank God I didn't have a storage unit at the time.
God.
Jesus.
But yeah.
That's terrifying.
Yeah,
That's
it really
genuine.
is.
Because to me, I'm like, did he get that job at that coffee shop
Yep.
because he saw you stopping there all the time?
Was he
or-
following you to your boyfriend's house to
Yes.
check and see if you had a boyfriend? And then he's like, well, I'll just get a fucking job at this coffee shop.
If
she
you
goes to.
if you went to that coffee shop with your boyfriend and he worked there and he saw you, he'd know you have a boyfriend.
Yeah.
but he's still like, I'm going to win her over with some chai tea.
Yeah.
You know, that's creepy.
Yeah.
But at the time, it's like you just don't think about it.
Yeah.
And I never, I wasn't flirty with him. Like, I'll admit if I, led the guy on a little bit, but I was not attracted to him. Like, it was nothing like that. And it was never, like, deep conversation. It was always just, like, superficial. Hey, what kind of music do you like? Or this or that. It wasn't.
Maybe that's as deep as Kyle went.
Oh,
you penetrated the depths of
Yeah.
his soul by just asking him what kind of music. It's just, I don't know. There's this sort of odd disconnect that certain people have, and I think it happens a lot in men, where any sort of attention from a female means not just like she's interested in me, but like she's interested in me forever and ever. And I think a lot of stereotypes get pinned on women in particular, where it's like they're the romantic type. And they're the ones like that have these daydreams of like a love that'll last forever. But I know a lot of fucking dudes who have been like, oh, we went on one date, like she's wife material. And it's like, you don't know her middle fucking name.
Yeah.
Like you probably don't even know her last name. Like I have had to tell multiple friends, like, you're in fucking like stalker territory. Like you're a couple of fucking phone calls away from getting a restraining order. You should probably rein this shit in.
Didn't you think that about me, though?
About you being crazy?
No. First date, you were like, man, this is wife material.
No, not at all. I'm still waiting for that moment to click.
Oh my god! I hate you get this show's canceled. We're never doing another show.
There's this feeling that you get when it's reciprocated. When you like, you
Or
have
is there?
something special and it's different, but I think a lot of people are so in love with the idea, and I blame Disney movies for both like people of our generation, regardless of what gender that you identify with. It's like you have this idea of like you meet someone, you instantly fall in love and you're going to last forever. And you're so in love with that idea, you just keep replicating it with every single person you meet. You're not actually in love with someone, you're in love with the idea of being in love.
Your fingers look terrifying now.
I just put 3 fingers together, so. But it's like, that's the whole premise of like that movie, 500 Days of Summer. He's more in love with the idea of being in love than he is with the actual person. And she tells him up front, like, I'm not interested in love. I'm not interested in like long-term relationship, and he keeps trying to like force it, and then eventually it just doesn't fucking work out. Spoiler alert for 500 Days of Summer, but you should have fucking watched it already.
Well, and so many people were like, oh my god, I love that character, like he's great, and then Joseph Gordon-Levitt's like, no, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, the entire time, and he doesn't learn a single fucking thing, and that's the whole point of that movie. But like, I just know the type of person you're talking about, and I've like talked to friends who have like read so much into something, like, I think we're in love. It's like, have you ever held her hand? Have you ever tried to kiss her? Has she ever seemed interested in kissing you? Like, is there any sort of spark between the two of you aside from the fact that she acknowledges you exist, she pays attention to you, and you have some sort of friendship? And it's almost like some people are incapable of separating the idea that you can actually be friends with a person of the opposite sex, of any gender, whatever the case may be, and it not be romantic. And it's terrifying and bizarre, and I'm happy that you're okay.
That you're fine,
Yes.
yeah. That's
Thanks, guys.
horrific.
I'm shocked you didn't call me. Like, come beat the shit out of this kid.
Yeah, so you guys, you know that part where I said I was single and ready to mingle? Like, don't bring a Polaroid camera on a first date.
No Polaroid cameras.
Save it for, third, fourth.
Study some John Cusack film.
Yeah.
He rides that line pretty well between, like,
Psycho
and like, romantic. I think he does it really
It's just
well in
'cause he's
most of his
charming.
movies. He's very handsome as well. That doesn't hurt at all. So
Did I tell you guys about when I had an ex who showed up at my apartment?
I don't think you've ever shared this story in depth on the show before. I know this story, though.
Because I had a boyfriend that I had broken up with, and I had my own apartment. And I was working one day. I started dating one of the other guys in the friend group. Because I'm sure a lot of people do that when they're younger, when you're like 18, right?
Sure.
I'm sure, like, yeah, okay, slut, whatever.
No, I'm thinking like, yeah, that absolutely happened, but I'm not going to give out names. For my friend group, someone I knew dated one of my friends, and then they broke up, and within a week she was dating another one of my friends, and like, it was the same group of people coming to the party. She just stood next to a different person after a while. So.
Well, I mean, so we broke up, and then I dated one of these other guys, and I didn't think I should have to tell him, like, oh, I'm dating so-and-so or whatever. He calls me while I'm at work one day, and I'm like, I hear you're dating so-and-so. I'm like, yeah, okay. And he's like, we need to talk about this, and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, no.
So I don't think people realize this about Robin. This is my favorite trait Robin has. She doesn't do this on the show, because she reads scripts very thoroughly. When Robin's telling a story, and she's like gonna move on to the next beat. She goes, and da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And that's her actual real life catchphrase that just came out.
Well, like, you know, he just wants to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. And he says, well, I'm going to wait at your house or whatever. And I tell him, don't do that. I don't want to see you. And so I work with a bunch of big ass fucking dudes, right? So I tell my friends, like, this guy's going to be waiting at my house when I'm done with work. And I want you guys to come with me because I don't want to deal with this. And so we all get off work and we go to my apartment, and the lights are off in my apartment. I don't know what's going on. I'm like, he said he was going to be here. The lights are off.
Also,
whatever.
It's never romantic. If you're ever wondering, it's never romantic to wait in the dark for a person.
And I opened the fucking door to my apartment. He's sitting in my apartment in the dark, just sitting there on the couch.
That's creepy.
He must have had a key. But yeah, it was just like, why the fuck are you sitting in the dark in my apartment?
To scare you.
And you were there for hours, you know what I mean? And my coworkers, my friends were just like, you need to get the fuck out of here. And I think that's good advice for anybody, any man, woman, whatever you want to be. If you don't feel comfortable or safe, you should always bring your friends.
Yeah, shout out to your coworkers.
Yeah,
I was having your back like that.
Yeah, I was so thankful because he was the one that almost, he picked up my Xbox that one fight we had. Did I tell you about that?
No.
Oh my God, we were having a fight and he picked up my Xbox like he was going to chuck my Xbox. And I was like, motherfucker, if you break my Xbox, I swear to God.
I will murder
I was
you.
just like, don't you freaking dare.
Robin has drama with her exes in her past, and I think we all do. I know a lot of your stories. I may have forgotten the Xbox thing. There's a different story.
It's that same person.
There's
and
a
that's
different
why I'm
story.
like,
I don't know if you want to tell or if this just didn't connect or if it's a different person entirely. But it has to do with your name being written somewhere.
oh my, it's that same
Is it
person.
the same one? Okay, so
It
tell
is
that
the
part
same
too.
person. Oh my God. Okay. This guy is a fucking psycho. I went on a pseudo date. I don't know if it was a date, but, I went to the movies with with a guy. Okay. And my ex was just freaking like stalker obsessed. And he shows up at the movie theater and he was like, I love you so much. Like, I carved your name into my chest. I was like, what the fuck? And I was just like, oh my God. Oh my God. This guy was a psycho. And I think he like, carved like cheater or something like that on his, it was fucking terrifying.
He carved cheater on his own chest?
Or on his legs?
Did he
like
cheat
the
on you?
inside of his thighs?
Was it him punishing himself?
Yeah.
I don't understand why he would.
Yeah.
That's
That's why
is his name Kyle?
No. But he was fucking terrible. And oh my God.
These aren't romantic
They're
things.
not romantic. Don't do this. This will scare your loved ones.
That story reminded me of the movie Fear when Mark Wahlberg starts like pounding his chest
What?
in that crazy movie. That's like what I picture this guy doing.
Yeah,
like,
he was
I love
horrifying. Oh my God. Oh my God. Horrifying. Yeah. So stalkers are scary.
Yeah. Don't stalk people, guys.
Yeah.
I don't feel bad for not having any stories where I've been stalked. I'm okay with that. I don't feel like I'm that special anyways. But I'm proud of the fact that I have absolutely no stories where I've stalked someone. Like when I broke up with someone, I was like, all right, moving on. And I've always been told, like, you're very cold. I can't believe, like, you just didn't call me or text me after that. It's like, you said you didn't want to be together anymore? I was good with that. Like, I moved on. I'm sorry. So I think I'm, like, maybe on the opposite end of that spectrum. Like, people are like, I want some more closure. Or, like, when you're young, it's like, I want more drama. I want to fight some more. And I was just like, oh, this is done? Cool. Moving on.
I have been that psycho girlfriend, though, before. Not, like, psycho, but it's like, where we are supposed to have space, right? So it's like, maybe we should have some time apart. We'll have space. And then they keep calling you. So he kept calling me. I'm like, what are you doing here? You want space, and now you're calling me every day. And are you trying to string me along? Like, I don't understand. And so I'm the crazy girlfriend, right? Who's like, do you want to be with me or do you not want to be with me? And then you notice, like, they're changing their shifts at work, like, because you have access to their email. So they're changing shifts at work. They're not telling you. They're lying to you.
At first, I was like, you're not crazy. You're being manipulated. Now you're like, oh, because you have access to their email, you know? I'm like, okay, yeah, that is crossing the line.
So that I have been the crazy girlfriend before, but I've never been the person who went up to another girl and was like, back off my man. Because it's not worth it. If they're going to be that person, you don't need them in your life.
Nope.
So I have a coworker currently who is a female, and she's very good at her job.
Is she a single female lawyer?
No, but so we have a catchphrase at work because basically anytime you do something really well, if she's involved, she also does well and like it's better than you. So we're just like always be like so and so. And we kept saying it for a while, and it was a catchphrase because she kept doing more and more impressive stuff, and that kind of person kind of drives you to like do better at work. And it's like had that effect on the team, but we keep using that phrase because anytime she does something like exceptional, we're like, always be like so and so. So I mentioned because Robin can make mugs now. I was like, it would be really funny if I had a mug that said always be like so and so on it. And I mentioned it to her. And
I was just like, who the fuck is so and so?
Exactly. I've told her about so and so multiple times. And I said, like, it'd be so funny if I had this mug. And she just fucking looked at me like, who the fuck is so and so? And I was like, I told you about her. I work with her. And so I obviously don't have that mug. And I will never ask for it again. So I don't think you're, crazy or anything like that. But you definitely have moments where I'm just like, okay, that's a boundary. Noted. Not going to push that button. But yeah, when you were telling me like, I have a stalker story, I'm like, this is going to get intense because we have not really had, aside from like road rage incidents where people get followed.
Oh, yeah.
We've only had like one real story of like domestic abuse and like stalking that came in, and that one was very intense.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not something we see very often, but I think so many stories are out there that people don't really want to tell because they're like, I would rather forget it happened.
Well, and also like at the time I just didn't realize, I think it took a couple years to like really realize like that was crazy of this dude. Like that was crazy.
The fact that he did that years later. Yeah. Years later.
And I'm the type of I'm like the type of person that when I'm in like an awkward situation sometimes, like I don't have like a good comeback or, like I have to think about it and process it and be like, holy shit, like, this happened,
You call him later like, well, yeah, fuck you. And you hang up.
But
now you can be like, fuck you, Kat.
I mean, I was definitely uncomfortable and freaked out at the time, but it didn't dawn on me like just how much thought he put into that,
I can't believe his girlfriend reached out to you.
I don't even know if she was a girlfriend. Like, I think it could have been just both, like, two crazy people.
It could have been him on, like, an alternate email address pretending to be his girlfriend.
You just never know. Because, I guess when you're in college, everybody has the last, like... it's the same setup of your email, like,
right.
.unlb. So it probably would have been easy to find me, but still.
It's fucked crazy. I've heard some crazy stories from a lot of my friends. An old roommate of mine told me a story, and I'm kind of paraphrasing because it's her story, and I don't want to do too much with it. But she was going on like what another person thought was a double date. To her, it was like we're just going to go get drinks in Chicago. And we live in Northwest Indiana. So it's like 45 minutes away, but it's a drive and you're going to go down to the city. It's a big thing. And they went down there. And so she's there and some guy at a bar starts hitting on her. And she's like, he was good looking. I was like, cool. This is awesome. But it was like, she went with a friend and her boyfriend and her boyfriend's friend. And her boyfriend's friend thought that like, this is my chick. She's here for me,
Mm-hmm.
And they had seen each other. They'd met before. So they're at this bar and this new guy, rando guy, starts hitting on my friend. And then he got really upset. He got really protective. Like he has no right to be protective. He's barely ever talked to her before. And the guy like walked away to go to the bathroom or something. He's like, who the fuck is this guy? And I'm just like, oh, that's a fucking giant red flag right there. And he's like, when he comes back, we need to make out. So he'll fuck off.
What?
And she's just like, no, that's not going to happen. But here's the problem is that this dude drove to Chicago. So they're all basically at the mercy of wherever he's going to take them. And when she tells him, like, I'm not going to make out with you, I'm not really into you like that. And what she was really saying is, like, any chance you might have had to make out with me is now gone forever. Yeah. He got super, super pissed off. And he just started drinking more and more and not talking to anyone. And he insisted he hadn't been drinking. So when they go to leave, they get in the car. And she's sitting shotgun. He's driving. And then her friend and her friend's boyfriend are in the back. And so they pull up to a red light, and he starts talking about like how she let him on, how she's
I would be like,
all this stuff.
Oh, I'm getting out of the car.
She had the instinct like I should probably get out of the car. Like in that moment, she's like, well, my friend's back there, so he's not going to do anything, and his friend is back there too, and So his friend starts telling him like, hey, you have no right to fucking talk to her like that. And so he gets really upset. And so when the light goes green, he slams on the gas and he takes off as fast as the car will go to the next intersection, which is red. And he has to pull the e-brake and lock up the tires just to come to a stop at the light.
Wow.
And so they skid to a stop and they're all screaming at him at this point. And
did they get out? Please tell me they
he's
got
like,
out.
what the fuck is wrong with you? Like his friend is screaming at him and he's revving the engine. And so they're worried like if they get out and he takes off, they're going to get dragged. So the light goes green and he takes off again. He does it to the next stoplight and they're all like praying like, I really hope a cop shows up. But when they're pulling up to that light,
they immediately get out.
It was yellow and it goes red and he has to stop. So as soon as it stops, the guy's friend is like, everyone get out of the fucking car right now. And they all jump out of the car and he left them in Chicago.
Wow.
He left them in Chicago and they hadn't heard from him. The last time I talked to her about this story, no one in that car had heard from him in years.
Wow.
He just fucking fell off the map, decided to like go on with his business. But I'm like, that is how close some people get. Like,
to murdering someone?
To murdering someone in the fucking blink of an eye. Like, we've met twice. You belong to me. And I was just like, that's fucking crazy. And they had to like ride the train home. This is before Uber. This is before Lyft. Like, a taxi home would have been several $100s. It was like, they had to go find the fucking station, which was like several city blocks away at 3 a.m. in Chicago. And they're like, we got to go fucking walk to a train station and try and like get home.
Oh my God.
So when I hear these stories, I'm just like, this isn't Scaryish. This shit is scary. Like, people are just sort of fucking like that. And I guarantee you, if you were to talk to that person who did that, they would act like it's the most justified thing in the world. Like, oh yeah, they all deserved it. No, I hate you so much. So,
have you watched that show?
Yeah.
Okay.
I watched it here.
Oh, really?
Spooky Mom turned me on to that.
Yeah, it's
we
a good show.
watched I was gonna say scary movie. We watched Scream 2, maybe a month ago, and I'm like, that's baby Timothy Olyphant. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
So the whole movie, Robin just like, it was just fun. But anyways, well, this has certainly been very interesting. I didn't know any of these stories, so good stuff.
Yeah, all your stories are legitimately chilling.
There is a theme of special guests on the show, aside from Ralph. They're always like, I don't think I'm going to have good stories to tell. And then they come on and they're amazing. So you have definitely lived up to that trend. Ralph knows he's the most interesting man in the world. And he's like, which ones do you want? And it's like, just give us your top 3 tonight, Ralph. So either way, we appreciate you coming on. Thank you, Yolanda.
Thanks for having me.
Again, you're my favorite cousin. You're like my big sister. I love you to death. So
Stop.
I very much appreciate it. And so I think that's everything we're going to have for episode 189, I think it is.
Wow.
We've done a lot of
episodes.
Indeed. So,
and that's not including pasta times and story times.
Yeah. All told, recording, I think we're close to 400 episodes.
And the weekend streams. And,
we have a lot.
Oh my God.
We do a lot. But also, while Yolanda's here, we might finally decide to record another episode of Scene Missing, because Yolanda's a huge fan of Pretty in Pink, and it would be pretty fun to have her.
Ducky for life.
Pretty fun to have her break down that movie while Robin and I give our impressions of it, because we both never seen it. So
yeah.
All right. But that said, if you have a story out there that you would like to share with us, it can be related to anything we talked about tonight. It can be completely different, paranormal, supernatural, spiritual, true crime, stalker related.
Yeah.
I would be delighted to hear some of the creepier stories you have that you all lived through, to know that you're okay.
I would love to hear more stalker stories. I don't hope for people to get stalked, but I know there are people out there who, when they were younger, definitely had that crazy boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever.
The morbid curiosity in me wants to hear about more of the crazy folks out there, so people know that, 1, it's common, and 2, to look out for it.
Yes.
But that said, if you have a story you would like to send our way, please email storytime@scaryish.com or go to our website, scaryish.com, and click on Contact Us. You can also hit us up on any of our social medias. Facebook is facebook.com/scarishpodcast. Twitter is @scarishpod. And Instagram is @scarishpodcast. Robin, for folks who would like to donate to us, how can they do so?
You can go to patreon.com/scarishpodcast. Those are monthly donations. Tiers start at $1. You get ad-free episodes.
Ad-free is the way to be.
That all sounds like a run-on sentence. But yeah, and then if you're not into the monthly donation type thing, and you like to do one-time donations, you can go to ko-fi.com/scarishpodcast. Those are, again, one-time donations. All your donations going to helping us upgrade the studio setup, kind of keep us going, upgrading. I already said that. Paying for behind-the-scenes things like website hosting, podcast hosting, all that fun stuff. Yeah.
Indeed. So thank you so much to everyone who listened.
I'll pay for high-tech TV trays like this one.
We have a TV tray that's covered in paint or plaster that we recorded on tonight. It's just like the good old days of Nerd Chills. But we appreciate all you folks out there, and very much thank you one more time to Yolanda for joining us on the show. So,
thanks, guys.
I think that's just about everything we have. So I'll say, Robin, go ahead and sign us out.
Keep on creeping on, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye-bye.